to you by Live.
Kia ora koutou katoa, you are on radioactive.fm and we are in the live room today with Eli Palauchwick, Riley Dick and Lockie Noble, otherwise known as Transistor. Kia ora team, thanks for joining us.
Kia ora, how's it going?
Good. How you guys going? You've been having a busy start to the year.
Yeah, indeed, last weekend on the road, this weekend in Wellington. It's beautiful, yeah.
It's a lovely time. So tell us a bit about those shows that you played last weekend. You were in Auckland and Dunedin, right?
Yep, so last Friday we were in Dunedin, played the Crown Hotel.
Beautiful venue.
Saturday went up to Auckland, out of all places, close proximity, up to, Auckland and played Whammy Bar. It was a great time,
Yeah, I like that you did the bottom and the very top of
one end to the other.
Yeah. It's the way to do it, I suppose. Yeah. That's awesome. How was the crowd at those shows? How were the opening? How was it in general?
So good. Yeah, everyone was so kind. Dunedin, great bunch of people came out. Played with Bathysphere, Julie's band, who runs the Trace on Trace label. Just fantastic. It's a solo project, but yeah, great group of musicians involved. And then Auckland played at Whammy Bar with Nah Noise and Ripship, who are just two fantastic bands. Like, we're so fortunate for the lineups that we've got. Like, yeah, just incredible bands. Yeah.
It's really awesome to see. Yeah, you guys have some awesome people on your lineup tonight, and we'll talk about them in a wee bit. But I love the. I read when you have been promoting this tour, you keep talking about how much you love the people you're working with, which is really, really cool. And everyone around, it's nice that you're fostering such a scene. Because you guys have kind of been, you've been around for a wee while, but this is your first headlining tour.
Yeah.
So tell us about that scene being fostered, because obviously you guys came through that scene yourself and you've been building it up. How does it feel to be able to do the same thing, build it with you?
Because, like, we've just supported bands for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And, like...
3-4 years.
Yeah, it gets to the point where you're kind of, like, in limbo, and you're like, well, if we want to, just keep doing this and putting out releases and people to take notice, like, you just got to do it, like, just take the leap, book a tour, just do stuff. Especially since last year was, like, just everyone was in limbo of, like, oh, we've got gigs booked, but we don't know if they're going to get cancelled. I mean, we're still like that, but, yeah.
There's a wee bit more security now, I suppose, like, with gigs booting back up, everyone's
festivals happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like, now's the good time to just go, let's just do a tour, get that under our belt and just move on before anything happens.
Yeah, no, good idea. Get it out of the way while you know you can.
Right, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I did want to ask, because you guys had such a big year in 2020, given that it was all COVID and, there was some crazy things going on around the place. Tell us about that year, because you had a remix competition, you had a single release, you were going on tour at one point, there was a whole bunch of stuff in the works. How did that all come to this tour that you see now? How did it all come together?
Right, yeah. So we've been working on an album, a debut album, for a little while now. And, we released a single in, like, July last year, Nothing New. And we put that out, going like, let's just do this, and we'll do a tour with it, go up to Auckland, and do a whole bunch of things. But then, shows were just, like, kind of collapsing. And then we're like, let's just do a remix competition as a way, like, in lieu of...
Just like content.
Yeah,
just put out.
And it's gets people involved that, like, wouldn't necessarily, like, be involved otherwise, It's kind of like going, hey, like, we like all kinds of music and stuff. Like, there's so many creative people that aren't just within, like, indie rock or whatever. It's like this, just so many creatives out and about. And it means that you can do it remotely too. Like, you just make the stems available, don't have to go anywhere in person. It's just like, put it out there. If anyone wants to, like, screw with it, do whatever they want, just send it back to us, and we'll put our EP out and go from there.
It's really awesome to see, and you do raise a really good point there, because, I mean, and forgive me for calling you guys a harder band, but you don't necessarily find harder sounding bands that do release things like their stems or are willing to put out their remix, things out to a remix competition and things like that. So it's really cool. Did the idea come from another band in a similar sound to you guys, or did that come from, where'd the idea come from?
Well, I've always loved, like, remixes and, like, alternate versions, and, like, especially throughout the 80s and 90s, you just, like, look at artists and bands and go, like, oh, there's, like, all these weird EPs full of just alternate mixes and remixes, and you just hear, like, I love mixing and producing, so you hear all these different elements from, like, either other people have added or that were, like, surfaced from the original mix that you hadn't heard before. So it's like, as a fan of music and, like, liking remixes and weird versions, you're like, oh, well, we can do that. We're not on a label. There's nothing stopping us from just going, hey, here's everything we've ever done. Screw it up. who cares, you know? Yeah.
That's really cool. Do you find, because I know you're very obviously close to this project. It's a very important project. Do you find it hard to wrestle with other people manipulating the sounds that you've created and the work that you've made? Is that something that you have to sort of think about?
I mean, I was just happy to hear other people like going, yeah, this sounds cool enough for me to invest time into like screwing around with, you know, like there's no need for people to do that. And it's just like, it was just a thrill. We all sat around.
Yeah,
the
it was
computer.
really refreshing because like you're stuck, like obviously with COVID, like you're stuck like practicing like over Zoom or like listening to the same mix for ages, and then you release it and then people return it back to you, and it's so nice just like listen to something different and refreshing, and you're like, hey, I recognize that part, like, oh, I recognize that part, and this is what they did with it. It's like a fun interactive thing.
Yeah, we just sat around the computer and like put on all the remixes, and we just cranked it up and went, wow, this is just insane. Like there's the Japes mix on there, Comf mix, Quasden, Georgie Dollar, and a whole bunch of other ones, and they were all just so different and weird, and some went so far out into the stratosphere or whatever, and we were just like, that's how could someone just do that? Yeah. Like we're just rock musicians, like we don't know anything about making electronic music, and it was like, wow, how can you just like flip it on its head and make it its own weird trip, you know? Yeah.
That's awesome. I really love the way that you fostered a sense of community about that EP as well. Like it's really nice that you put it out and had, like local creatives and local collaborators and all that kind of thing involved. It's awesome. Cool. I'm going to start. I want to hear some music because I think I'm getting too excited about these questions. What have we got first?
Contextualize.
Beautiful.
Recent single that we just put out last week.
Yeah, I'll be asking you some questions about it afterwards.
Here we go.
The days are strange.
awesome, team. Wow. So that is your new single that you released in January, correct?
Yeah, just last Friday.
Yeah.
This time last week.
Yeah. Amazing. And the video for that, I've got to say, it's one of my favorite videos that's been released. We haven't had much of a year so far. It's only been a month, but definitely my favorite video released this year so far.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's just awesome. Yeah.
Ash is incredible.
I was going to say, work with Ash Smith from Secret Knives,
Yeah,
is that right?
yeah, and he's just such a mastermind. Like, we filmed it in like a white escape room and didn't know what was going to happen, and then got it back and it was just like incredible to watch, just so amazing, and the colorscapes, and yeah, it's so cool.
It's such a cool video. That's awesome. Whereabouts did you film that one?
It was
Massey.
just up the road. Yeah, just in a big white room.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And yeah, we just a studio space, and then yeah, Ash just took the raw footage and messed with it a hell of a lot. Did his magic. Yeah, he's insane. Yeah.
That is amazing. Yeah, everyone should go check out that video for Contextualize. It is just beautiful. And you worked with Ash for the Pyramid Club live sessions as well, is that correct?
No.
Oh, so you
different set
worked
of people.
with Will for the Pyramid Club live sessions and Ash for the video.
Yes, and also Dan Harris
Dan Harris,
on
thank you.
Pyramid Club stuff. Yep.
That's right. Yeah, gosh, you guys have been so busy. You had an EP release in December. You had those live sessions come out as well. You've had this music video, and the Contextualize thing, and now you're on tour. Oh my gosh!
I know, it's hard to. I mean, I forget so mumuch. I'm such a forgetful person. It's just like you got to keep moving, I guess. But after this, it's like wind down time, finish the album, and then reconfigure. Yeah.
That is particularly exciting. Speaking of which, tell us a bit about because I know with the EP, you recorded most of that at home. Is that correct?
The last EP?
Yeah.
So 3 tracks from that are from the Pyramid Club live session that we did. And then that got turned into video stuff from Will and Dan. They did a great job. And then we have 2 tracks on there that act as like sort of interlude things, like electronic soundscapes. And yeah, that was at home, just like electronic stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us a bit about the recording process for the album itself. Are you doing that in a similar way to the ambient tracks you talked about on the EP? Or are you going to go into a space like you did with the Pyramid Club live session tracks?
Yeah, well, most of it's recorded, so we just have to do vocals, really. But like, I hate recording vocals. It's like, it sucks. But you know, it has to be done.
It should.
And we've already done vocals for the singles, so it's kind of like, you know, you're just slowly one at a time getting it done. But it's just finding time, and yeah, just borrowing mics from people. From Joel, he's very generous with his microphones. And then you just, you know, in your own space, just record it. Yeah, recording is such a great thing now, home recording. I mean, it's been around for a while, but now it's like, you know, you can do anything, really. As long as you've got a good drum sound, I think anything can be done.
So true. That is very interesting. And so in terms of the songwriting for that, you are the main songwriter, Lockie. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So for that process, obviously it's all pretty well encompassed then. It's bedroom recording, you know, you're writing these songs. And how do you flesh out ideas from woe to go? Tell us the kind of process for the songwriting that you do.
Yeah, so like from songwriting perspective stuff, it's very much demoing it as you're writing it, I guess, and then like that demo takes its own. With this album, with that song especially, that went through like 3 different versions. Like it was in a major key first, and then it went into something else, and then, you know, so many different structural things. And then through recording the demo, half of the demo stuff ends up on the final version, and you just record the drums in a better environment, I guess, and then just do better guitar stuff, and then it sounds better, and then work on vocals. And yeah, so from songwriting to demo to final product, it's all very much of a natural stream of things. Yeah.
It's interesting. It is a natural stream, but you're also quite formulaic, which I find, you know, you strike that fine balance quite well. Has that formula changed much since you first started releasing in 2016, or is that a similar formula that you've taken through?
Similar, yeah, just more of a focus on like quality of product, I guess. Like, you know, the original stuff, it's like, ugh, you know. But yeah, it's all learning. Like, you know, it's all like home recording stuff. So it's like figuring out how to mix and how to make stuff sound like your favorite records, right? You just listen to stuff and you're like, oh, that sounds amazing. How can I do that? And there's so many people that do home recording and have done in the past that it's like, oh, the foundation's already laid there. You just figure out how to like replicate things, I guess, through mixing. Yeah.
That's so true. There's so many resources for home recording, which are particularly interesting. I am very excited to hear this album. Do you have a timeline in place? You've got so much coming out and things happening. Yeah,
Deadlines,
not
yeah.
to put the pressure on.
Like, we're not on a label or anything, so there's no reason to do anything at all.
Your fans are the reason.
We don't have fans.
Well,
I don't know.
Radioactive loves you.
Thank you, Harry.
We would love to see the album anytime soon.
But yeah, I guess it's like as soon as these shows are done, we've got Welcome to Nowhere up in Whanganui, and then that's like the last show of the tour, and then it's like, oh, now is a better time than ever to finish the album, and then just like tour that later in the year. So it's kind of just having a deep breath, finishing things up, and then moving on.
I can imagine you guys haven't taken a deep breath for about 4 months.
Pretty much.
Been holding it in.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Well, you can breathe very, very deeply soon. We'll talk a little bit about the Wellington show you guys have coming up after this, but do you guys want to play another track?
Yeah, the song's called Waiting to Be Free.
Good tune. was awesome. Oh my gosh. I need to give myself a moment for that one. Whew. So tell us a bit about this show tonight that we mentioned just before you played. That you're playing with Lennon, Ingrid and the Ministers and Mystery Waitress. Oh, try saying that 5 times fast.
Again, what a lineup, right?
What a lineup. It's awesome.
4 bands, $10.
How much is that? $2.50 per band.
Yeah.
And we've got incredible visuals by Sabrina. So you're basically watching a movie and 4 bands.
Oh my god.
For $10.
Pretty good.
Bang for your buck.
And
Pretty
you
good.
can get drinks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Drinks are available.
That's right.
Food, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why not?
That is
Yeah.
the absolute dream. Have you played with any of these bands before?
Definitely Linen. But I think it might be the first time for the Ingrid and the Ministers and Mystery Waitress. Yeah, we haven't played with them before.
Awesome.
So going in blind. Well, I've seen them both before, but it'll be a good mix. I think the trajectory of the night, stylistically, will work. You know, we've got Mystery Waitress first, then Ingrid and the Ministers, Linen, then us. Linen are a lot heavier, but we'll play to our
Slow
strengths.
introduction.
Yeah.
Slow introduction, rather.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
heavier and
Yeah.
You're working your way up to it. I like it. That's the way to do it with your own headlining show.
We're
Is this
figuring
the-
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this your first headlining show you played at San Fran?
Yeah.
Wow. This is the first one of Wellington.
I mean,
ever.
without the lineup, we'd be like, what do we do? But you need to put a good lineup together, right? That's like the core of a good show.
Yeah.
So just a great bunch of people.
Yeah, you've killed it, obviously. So how did you decide, like, what was the, obviously you have an intention behind, you know, hiring slightly different bands and slightly different sounds to what you guys have. What's your intention behind that? Do you prefer working and collaborating outside of the genre that you're working with it?
Yeah. How I see it is like we're all in the same sort of wheelhouse of like alternative, you know, spectrum of sounds, and then within that, there's room for all of us to sort of like stretch out and do our thing and not feel like we're stepping on each other's toes, you know? Yeah, so that's a big part. And also as like an avid gig goer, there's nothing worse when you've got 4 bands doing the exact same thing. 4 bands is a lot. So you've got to make sure, you know, there's different sounds coming out of it. So, yeah.
So true. That's a thank you from a patron's perspective. Thank you for thinking of that, because it
There we
does.
go.
It becomes really hard.
Seal of approval. Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. And will you have any merch or any exciting things like that available tonight?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've got brand new tapes from that EP we put out in December. T-shirts, not too many left of our old T-shirts. So limited stock. And then some newer T-shirts. And I think every band is bringing merch. So there's going to be a lot of merch. No slim pickings here. Just go for it.
Bring all your
Yeah.
pocket money.
Bring all your pocket
Yeah.
money,
Spare
your
no
pennies.
change.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's a
Everyone's
big
gonna
help.
bring their
Yeah,
Christmas money.
like, merch
through,
is
I
a
think.
big sustainable thing. So yeah, just help support the bands. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the wake of all the COVID things, I suppose merch is definitely one of the main things. Where is merch a thing you enjoy organising and doing?
Yeah.
I
Lockie
mean-
does all the design for the merch, which is so cool. Like just seeing it from screen to print. We use artisan screen prints in Shelley Bay
Yeah.
for our t-shirts, and they're so great. Like it's like all natural dyes that they use, and just really nice quality t-shirts. So it's real cool. Like Lockie does all the design, and it just looks great.
It leads to a lot of regret afterwards. Of like, oh, why did I put that there? We need to get other people involved. But yeah,
You're a
yeah.
man of many talents, obviously, Lockie. That's awesome.
Thank you, Harry.
Yeah. So tonight, what time do doors open?
8
8.
on the dot.
Cool. And you can get tickets from Under the Radar as well? Is that
Under the
correct?
Radar tickets close at 7:30.
Ooh.
So, you know, a bit of time if you want to grab them online. Support Under the Radar and their, you know, just amazing work that they do for like every gig.
Shout out to Chris Cudby and the crew. Those guys
Yeah,
are
totally.
just awesome.
The best people.
Just awesome.
And then, doors at 8 and $10 on the door. So,
Beautiful.
whatever floats your boat.
I'm guessing based off this performance so far in here, you're going to want to get in quick because those are going to be selling out real fast. So we have time for about one more song. What are you going to leave us with today, team?
We're going to play Nothing New, the single we put out last year.
And this was the remixes competition single that we were talking
Yeah,
about.
so
earlier.
there's a whole remix EP out online on Bandcamp and streaming. And yeah, it's a fun time. It's like hearing the same thing, but in a different reality, you know? Yeah.
That is just awesome. We'll go listen to the EP, but before that, listen to the original right here on radioactive.fm. they're going to play their track Nothing New very, very soon.
All right, all good to go?
So-
Yep, easy. Thank you.
Tonight is going to be so much fun. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Eli, Riley, and Lockie, thank you so much for joining us in the live room today. It's been so lovely having you here.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Radioactive.
Thanks, Radioactive in New Zealand on air.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we
thank you,
go.
NZ On Air Music, for helping us out as always. They are just awesome. And yeah, kia ora. Cheers. Check these guys out tonight at San Fran.
Friday, 3:30. Every week a new band. In studio. Brought to you by NZ On Air.